there was a clip we wanted to show yesterday. Senator Scott Herndon was presenting the bill that addressed that Supreme Court issue with the Second Amendment, where wearing firearms on public property, even when there's an event happening like a farmer's market or something like that, that this bill would still allow you, it would still protect your right to bear arms as you walk through the public property. And so he was in front of the State Affairs Committee, I think, as well. But no, he was in front of the House. He was on that. The bill had crossed over, so it was on the House side. So he was presenting it there. And our ever favorite, our team calls him the Pitchman Gannon, who loves to pitch stories. He had a scenario that he painted for Senator Herndon, and we thought it was worth the few minutes to listen to this, especially because of how Senator Herndon answers the question.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, Mr. Chairman and Senator Herndon, we're at a picnic table, and a woman who has been a victim of domestic violence in the past, the protection order has expired, and the perpetrator or the person that caused her grief in the past comes up and sits at the table with his loaded gun. Is that going to be legal?
Senator Herndon.
Mr. Chairman, Representative Gannon, the scenario you described would not be impacted by Senate Bill 1374. Senate Bill 1374 would not be the law that speaks to that scenario. I assume it would be the law that speaks to protection orders. Follow up?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, Senator Herndon, if the protection order had expired, and because they go for maybe a year, maybe 2 years, or the protection order had expired, it would be lawful for that gentleman to come up and sit at the picnic table with a loaded gun. Correct?
Senator Herndon.
Mr. Chairman, I'm not super familiar with the law around protection orders and what happens after a protection order expires. However, if that's lawful for him to do today in the park across the street, then that would be lawful under Senate Bill 1374.
Representative Alfieri.
God bless Senator Gannon. You know, I was, when I was down there, Representative Gannon, when I was down in Boise last week, I commented to a representative who sits on a committee with Representative Gannon. I said it's great to be here in person and watch everybody and to meet some folks that I haven't been able to meet yet in person. But I got to say, isn't it great, Representative Gannon on these committees, because as sometimes as ridiculous sounding as his arguments come across, or the way that he presents them is rather amusing. It's great to have those things thrown at you, because it sharpens your argument. You want to know what the other side is thinking. We've debated on this show whether we should just highlight what's going on in the press and look over their headlines and just to see what they're talking about and what they're arguing about. But I don't want to go down that road. We can get distracted that way. But what he said to me when I mentioned that about Gannon was, "Hey man, you can't hit the ball if nobody pitches to you." And I'm a sucker for good baseball references. So we thank Representative Gannon out there, and he's a nice guy. But maybe someday we could do a compilation of all the stories, all the scenarios that he comes up with. I mean, the guy is he's legislating on anecdotes. It sounds like there's one anecdote, and that's the one I'm gonna. But that's what happens. It goes both ways, right? All the time.